Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast started by Closures.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Lorna Kennard-Wall, the founder of It's All About Health, where she delivers corporate well-being programs and masterclasses focused on overcoming resistance to achieve health results. She specializes in reconnecting individuals with their authentic selves through nature-based health practices and mind-body approaches. Her work stands out with tailored programs like From Resistance to Results, helping professionals locally and beyond boost vitality and performance. With that being said, Lorna, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you, Milan. It's lovely to be here.
It's great to have you. I'm looking forward to the conversation. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right into it. And what I love to do with every single one of my guests is a bit of traveling back in time. So before you even had your own practice, your company, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for starting this business?
Yeah, well, I've actually always been a therapist. So finished university and went straight into training. But back then you kind of had two options. I was very classically medical model. So it was either you train with physical therapists to treat the physical body, or you trained to understand about the mind and work with that. But quite quickly realized with a lot of clients that I was just sticking plasters on stuff and there was something deeper going on. So it's kind of been a bit of a personal and a professional journey, that understanding of actually emotions held in the body, tissue memory, trauma, and where physical issues weren't resolving, it was usually something deeper going on. So that led to training in lots of other modalities that worked with that more holistic looking, physical, emotional, mental, and now sort of that spiritual, energetic aspect. So yeah, it's been a long journey. And then It's All About Health. I started actually with my wife, Rachel, who ironically, we didn't know each other at the time, but we kind of been therapists both since 2001. And quite soon after we met, kind of did that journey together. She similarly was working more just on physical modalities. But we've both opened up our mind and practice to kind of going, humans aren't just separate boxes of different things working alongside. Everything comes together, and it's not until you really look at the whole person and not just all aspects of their life, but physical, mental, emotional, energetic, that you can really help to kind of get to the crux of what's really going on and give that full picture.
What a combination, you guys. There is a lot that you're bringing to the table, though, and I love to see that you're basically been in the industry since your early adulthood. That's what it looks
Yeah.
like. So obviously, there was a lot of pivoting and adjusting along the way, as you mentioned yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're going to talk about where this journey got you overall and what the business really looks like for you guys today. Now, my goal in this part of the podcast is really bring some clarity for the listeners in terms of who is it exactly that you're trying to help right now, but
Mm-hmm.
also in what ways are you working with your clients, maybe your core offerings or something like that. So go ahead and tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we work with, kind of break the mold a little bit, because it's not just physical people with physical issues. So I guess it's ultimately open-minded people who realize that they're out of alignment in themselves and wanting that true whole person approach to health and well-being. So whether it's stress related issues, chronic pain, recurring symptoms, or that they just feel that there's a block or resistance, they're trying to work to a particular goal. And that might be a business goal, it might be a health goal, a relationship goal, and they just keep hitting a brick wall. And they've probably done a bit of personal growth, they've probably done a bit of personal development work, are aware of mind-body relationship. They know they're getting in their own way, but can't kind of get beyond that. So how we work is we both do a variety of different modalities, some subconscious mind change work, some hands-on therapy. So we do have a clinic in the UK in Somerset where we work hands-on, but a lot of what we can also do online over Zoom. and it's about getting the answers from the inside out. So it's working with tools that allow the body's innate intelligence to guide the process. So over on Zoom, I work with a process called Psyche and spiritual coaching, which really allows people to kind of uncover the layers of conditioning and figure out actually what's important to them. Who are they underneath all of that? But we can also work directly with the subconscious to find out whether it's like I say, a physical issue or a block barrier in life. What's actually underpinning that? Where's that coming from? Is it a post experience or event? The body's kind of stuck in that moment in time, or is it subconscious programming that needs shifting and changing and working through that? We also created, Rachel's got a manifesting magnificence course, which is kind of a self-guided course to, again, helping people understand the subconscious, helping people understand about sort of energy and the different things that they can do for themselves to start changing and healing from the inside out, working with whatever target they've got in mind. And yeah, I mean, next year's our real kind of bit of growth in terms of other courses, programs that we want to put out there, taking this knowledge into kind of corporate and working with more group classes and that side of things.
I love it. So you're basically combining in-person training, in-person coaching that you do in your clinic in the UK, but also the virtual coaching. So I'm curious though, what would you say is currently the ratio of the clients that you have in person versus virtually?
Um, it probably is 50-50. It kind of goes in peaks and troughs. I mean, with the in-person stuff, I do still do light touch, hands-on therapy work, including things like scar work and visceral work. So obviously that, there's a slightly different nuance if people have got physical restrictions that we can then release, but it's kind of sort of 50-50. And I quite like that mix. It's nice to have the variety.
Absolutely. There needs to be some balance. But also, Lorna, maybe this is what you meant when you started talking about the plans that you have in terms of the growth next year, some more programs and offers, courses. But what I wanted to touch on when it comes to holistic coaching and all of these professionals in your industry, I feel like there is a lot of people who are not really just providing the one-on-one sessions and working on that model, but also leaning towards creating something in a group setting where you really are a part of like a bigger community. This is bigger than just myself. I have a chance to see other people going through the same journey, dealing with the same issues, which also makes a lot of sense from business perspective because in that way you have something more scalable where you can impact a lot of people at the same time. So I'm curious, going into the space of doing something on a group basis, is that something that you've already dabbled into, or is this part of your future plans? What are your thoughts?
We've kind of dabbled in it a little bit before. Historically, we moved about 4 years ago, and that was a huge life change and it was almost like a line in the sand. How business was for us before was literally a classic therapist, 5 days a week, early mornings, late evenings, and just didn't have the time or the capacity to create anything more than really working one-to-one. We took a very conscious decision when we moved of like, part of that is creating what we really want and what we know makes a bigger difference. And like you say, it's that win-win-win. We get to support more people in a shorter space of time, less likely to hit burnout for ourselves, because obviously when you're only ever one-to-one, there's a maximum capacity that we can do. We have quite long session times with clients, so we're only seeing a handful of people in a day because I want to be as good for the last client as I am for my first client. And also that opportunity to then not just do with someone, but also share knowledge and insights so that they can use skills for themselves and help empower them, and also just bring that awareness to the different approach for health and wellness. So yeah, I think I've answered
Absolutely.
your question.
Absolutely. This is definitely one of the alternatives, though, because at the end of the day, on this podcast, we'll love to talk about real business issues, real business questions, and also scalability of those projects, right? So When you think about scalability, maybe another alternative would be basically hiring other coaches to work underneath you with the same methodologies that you use. There's also there's just a lot of opportunities, right? So I feel like as long as you as a business owner have the drive to actually impact more people, then the world is open to you. So beautiful. Now, when it comes to this, obviously a key component of all of this is having the ability to get really in front of the right people at the right time and have the ability to
Mm.
onboard them as your clients and grow the business. So my question is, what is happening really on the front of marketing and maybe specifically generating those contacts and leads to make that happen?
That's been our, I guess, our one of our hardest challenges is getting the message out there in the right way. At the moment, as I say, we almost started from scratch 2 years ago after moving and finding out where to live. And so it has been initially local networking, online networking, having conversations with people. But a bit, you mentioned resistance to results masterclass, doing more of those kind of things where you're sharing your knowledge and experience. People get to meet you and understand you, and a bit get a sort of an insight into what you do and how you work and what you offer. And then that can then sort of feed into, do they want to know more? Do they want to find out more? So yeah, I think it's got to be a multifaceted approach, whether it's, but also knowing where your clients are, where they're hanging out, and kind of not just scattergram post everything on every social media platform out there, because if your target audience isn't there, then you're wasting your time. So for us, it's been learning that pattern.
What did you figure out is like the best social media platform to leverage on when it comes to you guys?
For us, I'd say both use LinkedIn quite a lot. That almost ends up being follow up. I personally found networking, people, meeting people, having that connection, and doing talks has been the biggest input for us. I think because the type of treatments that we do and how we work is a little bit less standard. I mean, when I first started, I was doing sports massage, and you put sports massage up and people get it and they book
Yeah.
in. Whereas when you're doing something that's a bit different, that's newer, got a different approach, being able to have those conversations, being able to present yourself in front of multiple people, and the right people kind of find you.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is one of the biggest challenges for a lot of people in your industry, just finding the right tone of voice and really getting clear on how to communicate the message and make sure that you actually are given a chance to your industry and the audience to relate
Mm.
to who you are, what you're doing, what you're solving. So that's a challenge in itself, though. But I'm also curious, everything that we talked about so far is on the side of organic. So my question is, are you guys also considering maybe running some paid ads strategies to create something more predictable, just get to the results faster? Or what is your perspective on that side of the business?
We have just started doing that. Yeah, I mean, we've done that historically and not had the results, but it's a science, isn't it? And we have started doing that for the Manifesting Magnificence course, and that's certainly generated more leads. And again, it's then tweaking the landing page, and that's been a bit of an evolution. Rather than just having the advert, we've then got a separate Facebook community that they can
Mhm.
join. And it's just kind of realizing people just don't necessarily buy automatically. If they want to get to know you, they want to get to understand you. So it's having those different points where they can meet what it is that they're potentially investing into. So yeah, we're still at the early
Absolutely.
stages of carving
Yeah.
that one out.
Emphasis on touch points.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah, yeah.
important part here. But
You need more and
and
more and
also,
more
I
these
mean,
days.
it's understandable though. In today's day and age, the barrier for entry in terms of becoming a coach and a consultant is really low. So anybody can become that consultant or the guru or whatever that might be. So obviously, when it comes to social media, there is a lot of noise. So you truly need to learn how to cut through the noise and get in front of those people, make sure that they see and hear your message. So I completely understand what you're talking about. Now, I'm curious though. You obviously you started investing into ads. There is a lot of ambition. You're trying to grow the company. I feel like there is a lot of activities that you have to take on a daily basis just to stay engaged with the audience, take care of the sales part of this. There's just a lot to handle. So I'm curious if you guys also are trying to create maybe your internal teams, whether it's for marketing help, whether it's some sales representatives, whether it's on the fulfillment side, whatever the case might be. Are you trying to create this kind of ecosystem that support other people coming in, or would you rather just keep it smaller, more sustainable to yourself? What is the idea?
It's a little bit of a mix. It's finding, I mean, we're not wanting to be rammed in clinic. Like I say, we have long appointment times. We have our idea of what it's kind of getting at that kind of balance, but it's also getting the right person in. So I think for us, so far, we've found when it's us and it's our voice, that's what's important in terms of getting that message across. But this last year, we it was more about getting the systems in place. So we were that classic growing organically, grabbing this widget here, and suddenly you realize you've got 15 different systems working, doing different things, and none of them really work well together. So this year we've just gone into a whole new sort of CRM system, which combines everything in terms of booking, landing pages, running courses, diary systems, and that's been a huge project to do, but that's been really beneficial moving forward. But definitely, yeah, to look to find the right person to help us, I think, more on the admin side of things, so that as we're creating stuff, we can just say, right, can you put this up on this site and do all the kind of the background stuff, because it's always the bit that takes longer than
Yeah.
you think.
Yeah, but I love that you actually went through this process, though. I was literally just having a conversation about this like an hour ago with another guest on the podcast, and we were talking about the fact that if you don't take the time to really set the right fundamentals, like the only thing that's going to happen is just it's going to blow up in your face and it's going to come crashing
Mm,
down, right? So I know that the idea of scaling and growing the business is very, very attractive. Same to you, same to me, but at the same time, you cannot really move too quickly before you're
yeah.
ready for the kind of scale, right? So I love to see that this is what you have in place. It's tremendously important. Now, talking about the short-term goals, really maybe the next 6 to 12 months, let's say, what would you say are those biggest targets, goals, revenue, milestones that you guys have set for yourselves?
Next year, I think is really, like I say, I think this year has been very much about getting the foundations in place, getting the right systems in place, so that as we do more, it's all feeding from the right system. So next year, we definitely want to start doing more in corporate. So doing health and wellbeing within the corporates, companies sort of locally, nationally, and doing more of the one to many. That's kind of the focus. To say we've got the manifesting magnificence, but I'd like to create some more courses. Rachel's got some more ideas of courses, and do more talks, more podcasts, kind of getting the word out there more, and growing from that side of things. So yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a creative year, which I'm looking forward to.
Just a lot of growth overall. That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like there's a
And
lot
it's
of ambition
too
here.
much. I don't know whether I've got enough months.
Now, for some reason, I feel like you're going to manage just fine. But Lorna, talking about this though, we're having fun. We're talking about the exciting stuff, but obviously, we all know that the business journey is never linear, right? It's never going to be just sunshine and rainbows, as people say. So when you think about the other side of everything, and perhaps really stumbling upon the biggest challenges along the way, what would you expect is going to become the biggest challenge in terms of growing and scaling this way?
Really interesting question. I think it's going to be about balance. When I was reflecting back before this in terms of where the challenge has been in the past and what's helped get us to where we are now, it ultimately comes down to doing the personal growth work. And the biggest shift happened when we really got serious on that and using the tools that will work with other people, more consistently for ourselves. And I think it's remembering to do that moving forward, that having those moments to check in and go, where are we at? Where do we want to be? Are we still aiming at the right place. So I think the challenge is moving forward is probably then going to be people getting the right support in, and just reconnecting with actually, well, what do we want to create, and are we sticking to that, or getting veered by shiny objects or other people's ideas of what success looks like.
Absolutely. I'm loving the self-awareness here. It definitely is about, though, like taking the ownership and truly getting some clarity on what it is that I actually want to achieve and how to go about it. So, beautiful. Now, Lorna, one last question before we wrap it up, and this is actually one of my favorite ever. If you could travel back in time and maybe sit across yourself, your younger self, maybe at the very beginning of your journey as an entrepreneur, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Trust your gut and kind of just go for it.
Yep.
Just knowing that as long as you're true to you, then everything else kind of slots into place.
Absolutely. I love that. Lorna, you have a beautiful journey. I'm definitely going to be one of the biggest fans. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you for taking the time, blessing us today, walking us through the journey, me and also the entire audience. I really appreciate it. Now, if anybody from the listeners would like to get in touch with you and perhaps one day even work with you, how should they go about it?
The easiest way is probably our website. So that's it'sallabout.health.co.uk. I am also on LinkedIn, my pre-married name, so / Lorna Kennard. But yeah, the website's probably the easiest. Got all our socials
Beautiful.
on there and everything.
Thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Love it. Now to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from 0 to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.